We hear all the time in the home inspection industry that home inspectors are not allowed to call things mold without a lab test, that we have to say microbial growth or possible mold growth or fungal growth, and that is just not true. I've had realtors get absolutely furious with me because I rightfully disclosed and pointed out mold as part of my home inspections. I've had some that were more polite and simply asked me if I was allowed to call something mold without a lab test, and the answer is yes. Without any doubt, home inspectors are allowed to call something mold without a lab test. There are no regulations in the 3 states that I am licensed in that say otherwise. There are also no regulations that prohibit us from having opinions on things that are outside the scope of a home inspection. So some people mistakenly believe that if it's not part of the scope of home inspection, that we're not allowed to comment on it, and that's not true. As long as we are qualified and or have any applicable required licenses, home inspectors can comment on anything. When you see rot and structural damage in a crawl space, you don't say possible rot or possible damage. You say there's rot and structural damage. And it's the same with mold. To pretend that this is not mold is not only just foolish, it's a disservice to our clients. If we do not have the qualifications to point out mold, that's fine, because mold is not legally part of a home inspection. But if we're going to pretend like this is not mold, when we all know that it is, just to try to sell samples and to make more money off of our clients, well, that's unethical and doing a disservice to our clients. For all you home inspectors out there that may think you're an expert on mold, as a mold assessor myself, who's not perfect and still has much more to learn, because there's not really a big industry of that around here, but I'm a home inspector and a mold assessor, and I'm telling you, there's a whole world out there that you are not aware of. There are industry standards, there are regulations, and absolutely nobody in the mold assessment scene or in the mold remediation scene actually believes that you have to have a sample to call something mold. The industry standard does not require a sample for every little bit of mold to be identified. Now, it's true, we cannot identify the species based on the discoloration. That's true. I mean, there are times that I can guess and I'm about 80% right, but I cannot positively tell you the species. But I can tell you, in many cases, yes, this is mold.